because there is not a long discussions where people really connect or find that in what way empiricism should be critiqued. But mostly in social sciences, it has been abandoned completely. It has been abandoned, and now although social science has left it much behind, even in 70s and 80s, you find that critical theory came in a big way. Then cultural return itself came, literary return in social sciences came. So they had transformed. In fact, I remember in '86, writing culture, race, writing and difference. These were the major contributions which came subsequently to transform and critique the notions of what the earlier traditions were. I think this is where major turn also is coming within communications. But in India, in communications, we do not have a systematic such kind of an engagement nature. We do not have an official body of institutions or associations where people come under one rubric all together and nurture and discuss about concepts, methods, epistemologies. This is all missing. So somebody is doing this, somebody is doing that, even though there is not common entity and agreement everywhere. So almost it's just like they're saying that in Discovery magazine, I remember in American, one of the leading American magazines called Discovery, they're saying that there is nothing called scientific fact. There is nothing called scientific fact. A fact is a fact. You don't need to be a scientific fact. It's a running statement. It's a running statement. I do some experiment here, and the day I started screaming Eureka, Eureka, already that has been already discovered by 60 years before in somewhere else. It's because of the access to technology. Now this is also the time we need to redefine the idea of mass. In fact, the mass itself, if you look at the definition of the mass itself, has undergone a remarkable transformation. What the Newtonian notions of mass and Einstein's notion of mass, and subsequently what social science meaning of mass, there is a remarkable transition. I think somewhere we have left completely by just focusing on empiricism, positivism, the causation or the causal explanations or rationalizations. So that kind of a rigor has confined our entire discourse. So I think if you read, whether it's the Hume or we talked about heart and mind in terms of Descartes analysis, I think it's a time that we need to move much beyond such kind of a methodological rigor. And methodology, we need to question even methodology. Because by methodology, in a way, also implies sort of interdisciplinary engagements. Idea of an interdisciplinary engagements are basically to transcend that methodological individualism. And that is where I think we need to engage. Because communication as a field cannot be embraced or confined or posited within any particular single disciplinary framework. That's what we need to understand. That when we say communications, the fundamental question comes to us, how do you define communication? If we say it is an interdisciplinary, what do you mean by interdisciplinarity? What do you mean by interdisciplinarity? Does interdisciplinarity mean people having people from diverse disciplines? Or questions from diverse disciplines to engage with a single concept? Robert Merton talks about single term diverse meanings. Single term diverse meaning. Like communication as a term has multiple meanings. So you need to enlist those meanings. And would like to see that where you would like to problematize your field. There is enough. There is a rich literature. There is a rich literature when we talk about all these key terms. And each term defines in a particular way. You must remember, when you write your thesis, You cannot alternately jumping from one to the other, because this is what is the idea of training rigor of this particular course, is that most of the times we so loosely write, we do not realize that we are actually playing around. We're just playing around our explanations. Unless you are clear with explanations, you cannot formulate your answer. So this is what, by reading your statement, we can immediately judge that what kind of theoretical ideas you are inferring from it. So this is what is a training, which is very important, that it's not language for the sake of language. Language is a form of expressions, but the way you articulate your language will also reflect your ideas. I would just like to leave it, we can have more discussions. Okay. That three paragraph, you need to look at it and feel free to comment on whatever you want. Anyway, leave it now and
one point. In second paragraph, there is
no, that not today. Not today.
No, I mean, there is no full stop. So,
you put a full stop there.
I don't know if that's
You put a full stop. I think there's editing. This is a typewriter.
okay.
I didn't see, I hurriedly gave it. I gave it. So,
One thing that is, in terms of receipts of this is not a word what people think. How does it say have an impact?
oh yes. No, I'm not against it. I'm talking about, excuse me, I'm not talking about, critical school, no doubt. There is no match between critical theory, propounded by Frankfurt School and empiricism. There is no connection. Except that when this argument took place, because I think that was a time in the during Second World War, when Adolfo and Horkheimer migrated to the United States, and they were in exile in New York. And that is the time that there is an alternative which is coming out from Frankfurt School that was also unbearable to people like Robert Merton, even though he was a great eminent sociologist in Columbia University. It is he who is critically talking about critical school and administrative researchers. In fact, these are the coinages we have in place. But I'm talking about critical theory, the way it was Frankfurt School. Let's not talk about critical theory. Frankfurt School could not emerge as an alternative theoretical tradition. At best, it remained as a school. At best, it remained as a school because it did not have expansion except looking at the idea of mass production. Because the whole argument of what you call the critical schools are based on the collapse of capitalism, collapse of capitalism, that it is because of its inherent contradictions within capitalism, because of the dialectics, and the other, the nature of society. You see, what their predictions are, what a Marxian prediction of capitalism not a Marxian prediction of capitalism, that capitalism will automatically lead to socialism. Yeah, I'm saying that Frankfurt School is at the intersection of both. And but the way the whole critique of mass production, looking at the mass production, industrial mass production itself, that itself confined, limited them to expand the horizon of culture and communication. So I think that they only looked at production, mode of production, they did not relate to society and culture. I think one of the critiques why, I mean, it's very interesting, in fact, Martin Jay's work on dialogical imagination, or we find that there is somewhere a kind of a disdain for the genius scholarship in 1930s. That may be one of the reasons, maybe that I need to see more than why they were not grouped under the larger British Marxism, European Marxism. We find that British Marxism is too elitist in its appropriation of others, and that is where we find Stuart Hall, or even Stuart Hall is very fortunate, being a Caribbean, if he would establish itself so much in British Marxism, but talking about encoding, decoding, and others, you find even creating this whole idea of Birmingham Center for Contemporary Culture. But I'm talking about Raymond Williams, E.P. Thompson, Eric Hobsbawm. These are the people actually they dominated. And I don't think Frankfurt had any location within the larger British Marxism. So their entire focus was on resistance. Their entire focus was on resistance, looking at whole critical theory as resistance. I think somewhere, that's what I'm saying, that Frankfurt School, I remember in my student days, if at all communications you want to read in India in early 90s, earlier you read Frankfurt School, or you read only the effect editions. So Kepler, David Bernlow, and all these junk of books which were there. So Colin Cherry, I can tell you names, you'll be terrified. I have read in IMC library, I know very well. And I was struggling to remember the names. Because these names, if you find, these names actually came up in 1950s. Because after the Second World War, the way the system model came out, behavioralist frame came out, everything they tried to look at it as a system. Like Talbot Parsons' social system, communication as a system. So you find that all of them are sort of trying to write about system, how society communication as a system. So you find more a kind of a theoretically diagram, kind of developing an autopoietic system, autopoiesis. Like communication is an ongoing process, like the way somebody said process. So I'm saying that look, we haven't grown, we haven't matured much, except within the last 50 years, making changes in the nomenclature of our departments. Making changes in the nomenclature of departments, we have not done a single iota of things still. Media, then we use new media. Journalism, then culture and communication. We have not grown. Mass communication, IT style, fashion की तरह, आज जब कोई mass communication का दुकान नहीं है, बस हटाया उसको. Culture and media and communication, journalism and new media. Now, there is no debate, systematic debate, if at all, because that is where we are more chasing and running towards that medium-centric. That's what determinism, that's what I'm saying. We are going to get out of that centric.
Sir, in a speech you discussed about the administrative research, how in America there was polarization between a critical research and an administrative research. When we come back to India, I mean, if we are still dominated by an empiricist understanding of analyzing, so do you again see in India also a certain kind of administrative focus on doing a certain kind of research and not promoting the other areas.
In India, education is not a priority. In India, higher education is not a priority. So government or industry, they don't care what you do research and all. That is bothered. And they can open such schools, 20 schools, 30 schools, that's not a problem. As long as you churn out money, it's fine. So higher education is not a priority. So what you are saying about administrative research in India is required because the way, in a way, because today most of our media schools are actually catering to industry. Because all these schools are immediately asked, the moment you go to change the syllabus, there is a struggle. There is a struggle over syllabus. These are spaces where you need to understand that actually transforms what kind of pedagogies we are going to introduce. Now, when you go and ask to your teacher that, look, I would like to contribute to knowledge, then immediately your boss will say that, what knowledge you need? Where they will go? Who will buy them? That's I'm saying industry. Industry means administrative research means not necessarily government. It's not about government, it's about industry as well. Because after all, you are catering to their requirements. So that is what is an administrative research. So you are actually, it's a little bit research. But the worst thing is that today all the media houses, journalists, they come everywhere to formal institutions and they will say, there is no research. And what an audacity to speak. What an audacity to speak. All these media houses, guy will come everywhere and they will say, there is no research. And more research should be done. It's shocking. So in fact, I remember the other day I was saying that I was in one of the university, I don't want to name, and there was, I don't want to name, on one side industry people were and the other side academic people were. So when I opened, the industry guys were saying that, why you have called us? So they said, why you have called us? So you should not have called us. Because you see all these colleges, industries, universities are surviving by this sense of fear, sense of hope, that by passing out they will be running around with a camera, with a stand, and doing catering to their requirements in the television. They don't need you. They don't need you. Gone are the 90s. I remember when NCRC came up in 90s. Everybody who passed out had a very cushy job because they didn't know what exactly they are supposed to do in the TV industry. Because suddenly you're a young guy, 22, 21 years old, you have been made a manager with a huge fat salary of 1 lakh, 2 lakh, very well. बहुत हो गया मेरा मास्टर है वो तो 3,000 रुपए में चल रहा है use that. Then suddenly today you see the industry realize very fast these guys, those who are coming with a degree, they do not touch our job. वो तो लाला है ना ultimately industry. Which is the industry? There is no industry. These are all lalas. So obviously they will tell you कि पानी लेके आया, चौकी ठीक कर, तार को ठीक से लगा. आपको तो ट्रेनिंग वहाँ भी उतना भी नहीं मिला क्योंकि यहाँ पब्लिक इंस्टीट्यूशन में क्लियर है क्योंकि technology is limited and they become obsolete beyond a point. You can't engage, chase with technology and teach a course unless you are earning huge amount of money. Otherwise, technologies will be redundant. And Sarkar will not give you every other day new technology. Sarkar doesn't have money. So our technology होगी तो वो आप फंस जाएंगे. So you go to such institutions, there are assistants. They will tell you, hey, don't touch that. Just go there. Let you fix it up. And you then you only do. You don't know how to handle a wire, how to fix a wire. You don't know. Now when you go to work in industry will say that look, do yourself, do all the work. You say, come on, I am a degree holder. I said, just get lost. In your salary, I can buy 10. 10 people are working. You go to industry. Now all these industries have their own schools. You talk about private school, you talk about our stuff. They don't need a degree holder. Why I am doing a mass communication with a degree? if I don't have? This is a crisis in which we live today, and we have to understand that what exactly we are addressing. Is it that administrative research that today industry does not require a journalist? Industry doesn't require a journalist. You go with disenchanted word. After 5 years, 6 years, you're desperate to leave that institution. Then you are struggling to do a PhD somewhere and get a teaching opportunity. Post 90s, there is a mushrooming of institutions. I'm so happy to see so many media people. When I began, hardly there was anybody in media or doing research in media. Then massively industry started, media courses began and this and that. Because I remember in my time, those whoever wrote a dissertation, they got a very cushy job. कहाँ काम कर रहा है ना वो मुझे ADTV स्टार में मिल गया यहाँ मिल गया अच्छा अच्छा. Very few people actually stayed back in academics because they were all lured. They were all lured by professionals, but ultimately professionals were dumped. After 10 years, 15 years, they were all dumped. I remember somebody came, was the early first generation in NCRC guy came and told, I've traveled the world and this and that, to every day I'm changing to Geneva, this, that. I said, very good. I said, but what do you want? I want to do PhD. I said, okay, tomorrow come with a 1-page write-up of what you want to do. He never came back. He never came back. I said, you go and write. I said, look, by handling camera, you have become an illiterate. I said, by handling camera, you have become illiterate. You must remember. Either you reflect on that, you practice what you have done, or you have become illiterate. Don't just tell me that you have traveled the world from Geneva, because obviously that is your duty you are doing. But I'm not impressed or enamored by that. You come and tell me that I have traveled the world and chased and did this in Geneva and with Shashi Tharoor and others. So what I'm saying is, we need to understand that what exactly we need to engage. This is also the time we need to contribute to diverse areas. You guys have potential, you guys have systematically, you need to think about it, that there is a major challenge before us. Whether we would also like to talk about empiricism. It's not that there is no work, you can always see my reviews which I have done. I've also written about what kind of empirical works, empiricism, effect studies in India, or even critical theories already in India, like, we can put them all grouped under critical theory, like even political economy, even starting with this cinema work, Madhav Prasad. That was probably the first critical theory. Even Manjunath Rajapur, who did work on political economy. So people have been doing in a very sporadic manner. We do not have any connections with each other, that how we can put them all in one place. And so that more and more students read and understand that what are the different ways of methodological ways to see. And accordingly, how do you formulate questions? I think these are very important. Frankfurt is now obsolete. Now we do not take any more Frankfurt.
So you said that there are a lot of data to be generated, options data. So what is data you are referring to? Can they be quantified, classified as a researcher? How do you look at those data?
So see, like for instance, like Twitter data. I'm saying that all these, I checked that whenever you are typing here, you are putting data, right? That goes to the big data. That goes to the big data. Imagine every day how much we are typing and how much labor we are doing for free, voluntary labor. So volunteerism is gradually have come up in a big way into the labor process, which was never. Because either you talk about philanthropy, but you never talk about volunteerism. So that the data which is generated here goes to the big data. So the question is, you can download and you can work with research. Now, for instance, election studies. Now, during election, or even let's say whatever can download 3 months data. You can hire an agency. Suppose you want to study on some serious issues. You collect the data. There are companies now selling data, and you can do an analysis of these data. Saying that then you can make whether it's a content analysis and qualitative analysis, discourse analysis, you can do. But data is available. Yeah. No, I'm saying at least authenticity is like the question is how do you connect? How do you connect this data? How do you connect this data? You know the different companies, but at least you have a data set. You can utilize those data to analyze. Because now, in fact, some of what you call nowadays, what is it called? Data analytics. It's called data analytics. Now, data analytics are used in a very big way for policy, forecasting, or even for research. These are the latest trends where our today's generation should be more taught about social media data analytics. Yeah, so because these are the new. This is the last suggestion I would like to say, conventional understanding of media, that there is a fixed notion of the household. Conventional understanding of media was that there was a fixed notion of the household. So most of our understanding about the question of Banania, that sense of territory and household analysis is over. अब तो सब बिग डेटा हो गया, अब तो सब आपको कंप्यूटर में ऑनलाइन सर्वे, अब सर्वे मतलब किसी के घर नहीं जाना है, अब ऑनलाइन करके छोड़ दिया, जो भी भरता है भरो, ना भरता है भरो। हमने किया है 4,500 का 15 दिन पड़ेगा, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। I don't give a damn between these processes. What I'm trying to show, मुझे यही कहने की और 10 भर लेते तो बोला क्या दिखाना क्या दिखाना चाहता हूँ और 10 भर नो I'm happy 15 में भर के बहुत 15 तो दिया नहीं है क्या बन सकता है। The essence idea is people must engage and that is the future. We think about 24 hours a taxi driver driving in the city and listening to audio and consuming and procuring media messages. So your spaces are no more fixed. If you read what David Morley talks about, the nationwide audience, he talks about it's continuously shifting. It's so filtering apart that today a household does not. Probably our sense of spatiality is spatiality in communication. So the idea of units, हर एक चीज के लिए household as the unit of analysis. That's wrong. The whole arguments are clear. Anyway, thank you.